Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about there was a CNBC article that was written where the author writes about the number one trait that successful leaders exhibit. And what I thought was really interesting about this is the number one feature, according to this article, is that people are exquisitely curious. These are the types of people that are always asking questions, taking a look at how something can be done better. And if they don't understand how something works, they dig in, they help understand why, they take a look at different ways to solve the problem. And the biggest thing that I really took walking away from it is they're curious. They're curious and they're always learning. Dave, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I talk about this as sort of existing in the problem space or the solution space. And a lot of people want to rush to the solution. But the people that I see really excel and the people that I love working with are the ones that sort of stop and are comfortable living in the problem space a little longer. And what that means is gathering information, asking good questions, really trying to process like what the intent is and not rushing to a solution. Because oftentimes the conversation is going to be kind of fuller. It's going to be more color to it. It's going to be more interesting. And we're actually going to get at the core of our intention, and less so like the one thing that we think is the pain. And so, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things too, so Morgan Smith was the writer who wrote this article, and she points out, different people have different perspectives on different areas. And so the coworkers who really take the time to slow down, don't rush to assumptions, and take the time to ask questions, especially when you have teammates on a diverse team, is, we all have different perspectives based on the environment that we grew up in, the industries that we've worked in, the types of roles and job functions that we've worked in. And so those different types of contexts could lead you to different solutions. And across the team, being able to have a broad variety of perspectives and taking the time to be able to ask those questions will definitely lead teams to be able to get to better solutions as a team. But as a leader, it encourages your team to be able to surface those solutions that potentially would have been better than the way that you might have gone if you would have started out a project by giving a direct solution.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that just like people aren't inherently great communicators, right? Someone once told me like every problem is a communication problem. And if you think about even like interviewing, right? Like getting very good at asking questions and doing that research in advance, like you actually come off better than like just like tactically answering every question that comes in an interview. Sometimes people ask me, "Oh, how do I answer this question?" And that's very broad. It's like, well, the best way is like give yourself a pause and follow up with a question. Like ask a clarifying question, because then it shows that you process the question, you gave yourself a second to think about it, and it shows that you're like thinking beyond what's the question behind the question. And I think that's a really good skill to build.
Yeah, that makes a ton of question. And the question behind the question, a lot of the times that aligns with your purpose, it aligns with your values. And there's a lot of the time something deeper than just a comment that's made off the cuff, interpreted at a very surface level. So,
Yeah. I agree.
so that is the most effective, the most transformative leaders out there. The one big trait that is common across people who have worked at Twitter, who have worked at places like Apple, is that they're exquisitely curious. And so being able to ask the right questions, being able to have a mindset where you're always learning, more likely than not, leads to the traits and the behaviors that make you a better leader and make you more successful in your career. So we'll put a link to that CNBC article. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put that down in the description. If you're listening to our podcast, we'll put that in the show notes. So make sure to check out this article that was written by Morgan Smith at CNBC, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much.